Hello, Nimue Brown here, and I'm going to talk to you today about the Transition Towns movement. When the idea for this particular festival was first mooted, Debbie said it would be great to have someone talk about transition towns. It was on her wish list, so I put a hand up because I've had some involvement with my local transition movement for some time, and it's something I can talk about. So, I joined Transition Stroud when I moved to Stroud some years ago. I simply signed up for the newsletter and was interested in what was going on, went to a few events. I can't say I was massively involved until about a year ago, but it's something I found really interesting and I can certainly recommend that people get involved with. So the Transition Town movement as a whole started in 2006 in Totnes as an idea or a set of ideas about how people might live more sustainably, and it I'm not sure whether to say blossomed or exploded, but either might be applicable from there to become this incredible international movement. There are people all around the world involved in transition work in their local communities. So how this works varies. There's no one set model for how a transition community functions. So you can have charities and not-for-profit businesses and cooperatives, and it's all about finding local solutions for sustainable living. So obviously, your circumstances on the ground, the political context in which you operate, is really going to inform how you might go about doing that. So rather than handing down a top-down model for sustainability, it's all about grassroots work, a very bottoms-up approach to making a difference. One of the things that first attracted me to the transition movement, and still very much appeals to me, is that it's not about waiting for somebody else to come up with a solution. It's about creativity, and actually individual creativity, and how you can bring that into a community space, how you can work together in order to transform what's going on around you. And that you start now. You start the moment you jump in and you want to do something, you go. It's not, you don't need somebody else's permission particularly. You don't wait for government change. You don't wait for the industries to get their acts together and produce greener solutions for you. You make the solutions yourself. And I love that. I love that so much. So, other themes that come up that are just deeply intertwined with us and that the movement embraces is the idea of resilience, social justice, which I consider very important. I don't see how you can have any kind of meaningful, sustainable environmental living without having social justice. For me, the two go hand in hand. It's about being self-organising, and let's face it, pagans don't tend to respond well to top-down hierarchies. So this very community-orientated, very everybody mucks in and gets their hands dirty approach is, I think, one that other pagans would also enjoy. I think it suits us. Seeking balance is an important principle, and again, here's another thing that I think has resonance. The movement favours experiment and a learning process, because there is really no roadmap for how we do this well. So we're learning, we're making it up as we go along, we're trying things, we're exploring, we're sharing ideas and experiences. It's very interesting and creative and rational, and again, I mean, with the Druid hat on, that really does tick all the boxes for me. That lovely balance between evidence and reason on one hand and creativity and inspiration on the other, I think that's very attractive. It's a collaborative process, as I said. It's very much about community, so it's about what we can do when we work together. And it's a supporting and positive environment. It's a very can do and should do and will do together. And I love that. I think that's wonderful. It's all about finding creative solutions to being and to living in a more harmonious way with the planet. So again, if that doesn't float your boat as a pagan, I don't honestly know what will. So locally, the Transition Stroud movement also started in 2006, so it responded very quickly to Totnes, and the first projects were live here by 2007. We've got a number of action groups which basically happen because somebody or a group of people have an idea and they want to take that forward, so they work together, they form a group, they do whatever it is that they've decided that they want to do. Absolute grassroots stuff. So we've got an Action on Plastic group, and they've been very influential in getting local businesses to do a water bottle refill scheme, which is a great way of cutting down on plastic bottle use. They've got many other projects, but I think that's, for me, that's the most recent and perhaps one of the more exciting ones. We've got a group called Edible Stroud who plant food, and they do it all over the place. At the moment, they're working on a bunch of raised beds outside our railway station where they're going to put edible stuff, which is lovely. It's a textiles group. They do a trash and show every year, and they get together and they make things and they share ideas about upcycling and how you can keep fabric out of landfill. There's skills gains workshops, and those can be, well, pretty much anything that is a skill that you might want to gain and somebody might run. Repair cafes. Now, these are also a thing that crop up all over the place. I know they're not unique to us. And you take along stuff that is broken and see if it can be kept out of landfill after all. And I gather ours has about a 75% success rate with that, which is amazing. And it's a great way of kind of bringing skills into use. It's really practically useful, not having to throw things out. It saves people money. And they're quite a nice social gathering as well, by all accounts. We've got a community energy group that are exploring all kinds of interesting possibilities along the lines of local energy creation. We get film evenings, great fun, which are full of things that are interesting and stimulating, but not overwhelmingly depressing, which is very important, again, as far as I'm concerned. We get workshops on resilience and climate change. There's a zero waste group who are working towards how we can waste less, simply. And again, sharing good resources and ideas and making that available to other people. There's projects, again, this is wider than Transition Stroud. There's a booklet you can get to look at your carbon footprint and to work through as a community, exploring what your carbon footprint is and how to make changes. If you're curious about that, have a poke around with the search engine. All of this stuff is really easy to find online. One of the principles for transition is information sharing, and the internet is a primary way in which that happens. So if you're curious, get in a search engine. It's all here to be found. Back to the local stuff. We have a potato day every year that encourages people to buy tubers and plant their own potatoes and grow their own food. It's a very easy and accessible way, and I've grown potatoes in a bucket because I don't have a garden. It's not prohibitively difficult to grow a potato, and it's very pleasing to eat the potatoes that you have grown. So that's all about encouraging people towards a bit more self-sufficiency and to have more of a relationship with where their food comes from. We have an eco-homes project and edible open gardens. These are opportunities basically for people to go and look around the houses of people who are really invested in this kind of thing and to get ideas and inspiration and see how it can be done well. It's a very popular event. We have a community TV station that's run through the internet. We have a climate books library. We have health groups and transport groups, and there's more coming online all the time. All sorts of projects that people are exploring about how to creatively live in sustainable ways, building community, and we have a good time. It's a lovely crowd of people to hang out with, and I really enjoy working with them. It really works for me as a pagan being in this space. It's very inclusive. I suspect there are people from all kinds of religious backgrounds. To be honest, it's not something we talk about a great deal, but I know I'm not the only pagan in town who is involved with transition. And for me, this is very much an opportunity to do some applied druidry. The community, the creativity, the sustainability, and the interacting with people to move towards that, it ticks all my boxes. When I made my dedication to the Bard path, I promised that I would use my bardic skills for the good of the land and the good of my tribe, and this is a space in which I am absolutely able to do that. Particularly in that I do the newsletter for Transition Stroud, which is a a monthly electronic publication that keeps people up to date with what different groups are doing and hopefully gives them ideas and inspires them. So putting that together and putting that out is a great way in which I can use my word skills and my experience of publishing newsletters and writing and whatnot in a way that serves my community and serves the environmental development of my community. And I'm going further than that. I've not long committed to having an action group that I'm sort of co-running with Tom at the moment, and that's called Culture Shift. And the aim of this particular project is to engage people through creativity with sustainability issues and ideas, outreach, inspiring, engaging, entertaining people, drawing in people who might not otherwise think this is for them. And we're exploring all kinds of ways to do that with art and with performance and with workshops and all kinds of interesting creative things, and lots of other people are coming on board, and I'm very excited about it. And again, for me, this is a perfect opportunity to do my druidry in my wider community, not kind of having to go, oh, here's my druid hat, but just being able to show up with my spiritual path, part of what I'm doing, and let that inspire me and let that be part of what I do here. I might be going to make them a labyrinth in the summer because I think that's a nice social focus, and again it means I can connect the various things. So if you're looking for something to get involved with, if you're looking for an opportunity to not just live greenly yourself but get your community greener, this is a fantastic thing to join in with. If you look on the interwebs, there are websites it's easy to find. There is a good hub for the Transition Towns network. Have a search. There might already be people around you. Connect with them. It'll be easy to get in touch if there are already groups going, and if there isn't, all the information you need about how to get started is also online. And this is a good flag to fly under. This is an established movement with energy and ideas and information already available to get you going. And it's a good thing to get involved with, and I can heartily recommend it. So if there is nothing where you are and you want to start something, do it as a transition town. See who else you can draw to you. I think it's really worth a go. And you'd be surprised how widespread it is and how many groups there are out there. The chances are is already somebody in viable striking distance for many people. It's an amazing and growing thing, and it's exciting. I find it affirming and empowering and uplifting, and it's a good antidote to the fear and misery that climate crisis can put us in. It's better to be doing something, and it's better to be doing something with people who are also doing something, so you're not being ground down by feelings of isolation or pointlessness. When you can see real effects where you live, that's really powerful. This is an absolute example of that whole think global, act local kind of logic. This is absolutely what this is about. So yeah, I can heartily recommend it. I think it's a great thing to do. I think whatever you're into, whatever your interest or obsession or curiosity, wherever that takes you, you can find a place within this. You know, if you want to explore sustainable local farming, or if you want to find people to build a windmill with, or if you've got an amazing project about how to transform local business, all of that kind of thing, and 1,000 other things can be done within this context and will make sense in this context to other people. Have a look. I can't recommend it enough. Thank you.